You know what sucks about long-term anxiety and panic is when you have to do that dance between the physical symptoms that come up in like day-to-day life and in being in a human body, combined with trying to figure out whether or not it's actually just panic or anxiety, and then having to go about your day even though you feel physically horrible in your body. It's that kind of makes you feel like, why do I have to keep going through this? Like, why does this have to be my reality? This happened to me this morning. I woke up feeling really nauseous, and I wasn't too sure if I was actually nauseous. Maybe it's like where I am in my cycle. About a week or so before my period, I usually get quite nauseous, combined with being ravenously hungry, but it was either that or like maybe it's that I'm actually unwell, or I'm like, you know what, maybe I'm okay and I'm just feeling a bit anxious today, a bit tired, a bit emotionally overwhelmed. Like, it could be so many things. So I had to go drop my daughter off this morning, and I'm like, sort of going back and forth with myself all morning, like, do I feel like sick enough to stay home? Should I not go out today, or is it just anxiety and I'm okay? Kind of had an inkling that like it was probably just anxiety combined with being a bit nauseous hormonally. So I'm like, I'll go out. So leave to go drop my daughter off, and as I'm driving, I'm like doing okay, and then I suddenly have this overwhelming wave of nausea, and then it sparks the panic, because I'm like, oh God, I actually am sick. Like, why did I come out? And then for the next 5 minutes, there's this internal push and pull of like, why can't I just not feel this way? Or like, why can't I just either be sick and have to stay home or be okay? Like, why does there have to be this element of like strain in everything that I do? And I know I catch myself, and I know that that's an exaggeration. I know that these days hardly anything that I do has that strain, but when I'm in the thick of it, when I am having a day where I notice that tension in my body and that sort of fight of like trying to live while feeling anxious, that's when I tend to exaggerate and be like, oh my God, this always happens. So I have to catch myself when I have that thought of like, why does this always happen to me? And remind myself that it doesn't always happen. It just feels in this moment like it always does. But so I had that feeling, and I suddenly got really exhausted and really angry at the same time. Furious that I have to keep going through this. Tired of going through it. Just angry that this is how it is for me, even after all these years. Again, it's not always like this, but when it does come around, I'm like, ugh. And then, after giving myself about a 3 or 5 minute pity party, because it does suck, and it's okay to recognize that it sucks, I took myself through a bit of like a turnaround, I want to say. There was a couple of things that I told myself in that moment to change my approach to how I was feeling, and to come back to myself. And so the first one was to recognize that if this is my challenge, then I'm okay with that. And what I mean by that is like in the spectrum of hard things that I could be going through, this is not anywhere near the worst thing that I could think of, and it's, hard to say like things could be worse, because it kind of feels like it invalidates the suckiness of where you are. But while still validating that this sucks, I can also acknowledge and be grateful for the fact that as far as like personal challenges go, I'm okay, and my family's okay, and my friends are okay. And so like I'm okay that if this has to be my challenge, then I'll take that. So that's the first attitude shift. The second one that maybe doesn't feel so invalidating is that I recognize that yes, this is shitty, and I hate having to go through this when it comes up. And I hate having to feel nauseous and still having to go places. And I hate that internal dance that I have to do between like, am I sick or am I just anxious? I get sick of all of that, yes. But instead of being angry about it and creating more tension about it and in regards to it, I'm gonna throw love at it. I'm gonna throw so much love at it. I think of myself as like a toddler who has just had a really massive, overwhelming day and is tired and exhausted and spent and hasn't had a long enough nap, and I'm just emotional and tired and I'm crying. As a parent, I don't yell at that toddler. I mean, I do if they're doing something naughty, but like if that toddler's having a breakdown, I'm like trying to be there for them because I understand that they are just completely overwhelmed. And I love them and I want to comfort them and soothe them into like a calm state. And so that's what I'm doing with myself. I'm reminding myself that it's okay to feel like this is shitty, and it's okay to have a hard time with it, and it's okay to feel angry about it, but I'm gonna love myself through that. And so that looks like maybe putting my hand on my chest, maybe looking at myself in the mirror while I'm in the car, and just saying like, you're doing great. You are doing great. You're doing okay. I love you. You've got this. I know it's hard. You're doing a great job. And I respect and appreciate that you are still here after all of it. And just really leaning into that. The last thing that I do, and this is something that I've only recently started delving into, but what is that anger telling me in that moment when I am so angry about having to have these feelings? Part of it is just the like injustice of it all, you know, like me feeling like, you know, why does this happen to me? It feels unfair. I don't see, you know, a lot of people around me feeling this way. They probably are feeling this way and they just don't talk about it that I know of, you know, so reality check. But those feelings, that's what that anger is, those feelings of like, it's unfair. Why is this happening to me? Why do I have to keep going through it? You know, all of that kind of stuff. But also amongst that anger is a desperation to feel free and like an urge to just feel unhindered and unrestrained and to just live. Like, I just want to live. I just want to be able to be me and not feel held back or nauseous or, you know, maybe I should stay home. I don't want to have to feel like maybe I need to hide away or that something's gonna come up and hold me back. So how can I maybe offer myself that freedom? How can I maybe allow myself to have that opportunity to live? Maybe it looks like screaming really loudly in the car, which I'm not going to do because my puppy's in here and I don't want to scare the shit out of him, but I have done that in the past, like just screamed, just let myself just scream and get it out. Maybe it looks like going home and like putting some music on and just like moving my body. Can I like throw some paint at a canvas or something? Can I just write a stream of like unfiltered thoughts? You know, what can I do today that's going to give me that sense of freedom and that sense of really living, being able to really live? Because I think that's something that we miss when we try so hard to like work through our day with anxiety, and we have a day where we felt slightly hindered by it, and there's that self-talk and that self-soothing and that, you know, that self-love, but we're not actually giving ourselves the opportunity to feel like we've lived. And I think that's where, for me, I guess the like depression can start to seep in. So giving myself an opportunity at some point today to just let it out and to just be free and unhindered and to live. I hope this helps you, and just know that, like, you know, those thoughts that you might have similar to mine of like, why does this happen to me? It happens to other people too. I think it's just part of being human. It's very human to feel nauseous. It's very, like, you know, during your cycle for a female, it's very normal to have physical symptoms that kind of trip you up. It's very normal to have gone years dealing with panic attacks and anxiety and still sometimes get caught up on like, is this anxiety or is this just something else? It's normal, but how we aggravate those feelings and how we deal with those feelings by adding on more tension and acting like this shouldn't be here, this isn't okay, that's when we make it really hard for ourselves to navigate our way through. So remind yourself that you're human, that it's not just you that feels this way. Throw some love at yourself. Acknowledge what kind of a challenge this is for you and whether or not you're, can you be okay with that today? And find a way to give yourself a moment of being unhindered and free. That's it. Take care.